You open your phone, not because you're bored, not because you're looking for something. You open it because something, some thought, some feeling just started to surface, and you didn't want to meet it. If you've ever done that, and done it without realizing why, this video is about what's actually happening inside you when you do. Think about the last time you were truly alone. Not physically alone, mentally alone. No music, no podcast, no scroll, just you. And whatever your mind wanted to say. For most people, that lasts about 40 seconds before something gets opened, turned on, or played. It doesn't feel like avoidance. It feels like relaxing. It feels like unwinding. But there's a difference between rest and escape disguised as rest. Psychologists call what you're doing cognitive offloading, the outsourcing of mental processing to an external source. And when it becomes habitual, when you reach for a screen every time discomfort begins, it stops being a choice and starts being a reflex. Your brain has learned a very simple equation. Uncomfortable thought, reach for stimulus. And the more you repeat it, the deeper that groove gets carved. Before we go further, I want to say something important. This is not a character flaw. It is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not a generation's failure to sit with themselves. It is, in the most precise psychological sense, a learned coping strategy. Your nervous system found something that works, something that lowers arousal, reduces rumination, fills the gap where anxiety likes to live, and it held on to it. That's what nervous systems do. They optimize for survival. The problem isn't that you found the tool. The problem is that the tool has become the default. Here's what's happening neurologically. Your brain has a system called the default mode network, a cluster of regions that activates when you're not focused on an external task. This is the network that generates self-reflection, imagination, emotional processing, and what researchers call autobiographical thought. The ongoing story you tell yourself about who you are and what your life means. The default mode network is not comfortable. It surfaces unresolved memories, unfinished conversations, questions you haven't answered about yourself. It is, in the most honest terms, the part of your brain designed to help you process being human. But here's the thing. Every time you pick up your phone, open a video, start a podcast, you suppress the default mode network. Attention research shows that focused external stimulation immediately redirects neural resources away from internal processing. You aren't silencing your thoughts. You are redirecting the electricity that thoughts need to form. And for a moment, it feels like peace. But the thoughts don't disappear. They wait. So what do you do with this? Not fix it overnight, not quit your phone, not perform some ritual of radical presence. Just understand it more precisely. Here are 4 principles grounded in psychology that can quietly begin to shift the pattern. The first, name the feeling before you reach. Affective labeling, the practice of naming an emotion, has been shown in neuroscience research to reduce activity in the amygdala, the brain's threat response center. When you name what you're feeling, you are literally changing the brain region that processes it. Before you open anything, ask yourself one question. What am I trying to not feel right now? You don't have to answer it fully. Just ask it. The second, let the default mode run, even briefly. You don't need an hour of meditation. Research on mind wandering shows that even 3 to 5 minutes of undirected thought can improve creative problem solving, emotional integration, and self-understanding. Try sitting with nothing for 4 minutes. Not to be productive, not to be enlightened, just to let the network run and see what it brings you. The third, distinguish escape from restoration. Not all content consumption is avoidance. Some of it is genuine rest. Some of it feeds curiosity, connection, meaning. Behavioral psychology distinguishes between approach motivation, moving towards something, and avoidance motivation, moving away from something. Ask yourself, am I watching because I want this or because I don't want what I was feeling? The content might be identical. The direction is everything. The fourth, build small containers for discomfort. Psychologist Jonathan Haidt describes the mind as a rider on an elephant. The rider is reason, the elephant is emotion. You cannot drag the elephant, but you can build a path it's willing to walk. Instead of demanding full silence from yourself, create tiny, regular spaces where discomfort is simply allowed. A walk without headphones, a meal without a screen, 5 minutes before sleep without reaching for anything. Small containers, not transformation, just practice. Here is the one thing to hold on to. Your thoughts are not your enemies. They are the default mode network doing its job, trying to integrate your experience, make meaning from your life, and surface what needs to be heard. When you silence them with content, you aren't resting from your mind. You are borrowing peace at the cost of postponed processing. The thoughts accumulate, the background noise gets louder, and eventually, silence itself starts to feel like a threat. What you're looking for isn't an empty mind. It's a mind you've learned to sit with. You don't have to change everything. You don't have to delete anything. You don't have to become someone who journals at sunrise or sits in perfect stillness. You just have to start noticing the moment your hand moves before your mind does. That noticing is not a failure. It is the beginning of something most people never find. A relationship with your own inner life that doesn't require constant management. Your thoughts are not noise to be silenced. They are the sound of a mind that is alive, still trying to understand itself and asking quietly for just a little room to speak.